you have to, the ball moves faster than the player, so you have to help that ball run faster than a player from the opposing team can run. Get that ball to move around before the opposing team can adjust the defense. That is football 101. This isn't something new. Garnacho and Rashford kind of try to square up their man and try to take him on, which is good sometimes, but not every single time. It's better to also use your teammates and bounce passes off them and have patterns of play that are designed to create chances. We saw Anthony playing as a wingback with Ahmad inside him, and I thought the chemistry there actually worked, and that is so vital, guys. Having relationships and pairings that understand each other and understand what, you know, they like, their movements complement each other is important, and I saw a little bit of that. Now, we're going to talk about the ins and outs, who is possibly going to be moved on, maybe this January or in the summer, and we're going to talk about the kind of players that we are scouting and looking at, because there are some exciting things going on at our club right now with Dan Ashworth out, is that Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox have hired more scouts in South America. This is great, and I'm glad it's happening already, that it's already happened, because we had a Europa League game yesterday, and it was an ugly game. We made so many errors, so many mistakes, but we did get our must-needed win, and it was against that team, Viktoria PLZN. I don't know how to say it, and I'm not going to learn how to say it. Hopefully, we won't be playing them again, but it was a must-needed win. We did pull it through in the final minutes. Beautiful combination between Brun and Rasmus, and we got it through. Yes, I will be pronouncing games correctly today. I had a 2.5 hour long conversation with a friend of the channel, Diogo from Lisbon, and we're going to cover that today in this video. We have so much to talk about. I am not going to analyze the game for too long. Sometimes I'll sit here and show you guys photos of the game and tell you exactly what happened. Don't have time to do that today, but we will be talking about the game and what me and Diogo saw in that game. And the things that me and Diogo talked about were mostly concerned with Ruben Amorim himself. Ruben Amorim himself. I am going to get this right. Thank you, Diogo, for the conversation we had. It was a pleasure, and let's get right into it. What's up, YouTube? Thank you for joining me once again. Thank you for clicking on the thumbnail, and if you're new to the channel, I hope you like what you see, and if you do, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Everybody else, let's click the likes and get them up. Guys, in the last, 4 days, we had over 200 subscribers, so thank you very much for everybody for helping me hit my road to 1,000 goal. We have over 1,000 subscribers now, so we're not even at New Year's. I still got 3 weeks to the New Year, so we hit the goal 3 weeks ahead of schedule. Thank you so much. I owe everything to you guys. I love you guys that always click the like, always get in the comments and talk to me and correspond with me. Thank you so much for helping me get this channel to where it is, our channel to where it is, and keep the comments coming. It's always what entices me and makes me think about what's my next video or topic going to be about. Sometimes I don't know what I want to talk about because we don't have a game coming up, not lately. And then I read a comment from somebody who says something so interesting that actually changes my mind or influences me to think about something, and that ends up in the video. So thank you very much. And one of those comments was from Diogo, who me and him got on a Zoom call and had a discussion, and I'm going to show you little bits of that. Not too much because I don't like the Zoom quality of video and audio, and I don't want to just play that to you guys because it'll feel slow and it'll feel not that great a quality, but I am going to summarize everything we discussed. And again, it was a 2.5 hour conversation, so I can't just show you everything. This would be a really long video. So we're going to summarize and break it down, but let's start first with what we saw in the game yesterday. The game itself was pretty painful to watch. I mean, we were moving the ball really slow, and we're going to touch on that some more. I'm not done. Just moving the ball slow doesn't exactly describe how horrible that part of our game was. We were moving the ball really slow. We were making countless errors. I mean, the kind of fundamental errors that a professional team in a Premier League team should not be making. And then, to top it off, there were a handful of players that just did not show the right attitude or work rate out there. Here's one of the things Diogo said to me.
What I see from Sporting side, when I look at Manchester United, I see it's absolutely atrocious. This is the level that you guys are used to, but it is atrocious. I see players that don't go back, that look like they're jogging back when the opposition is running with the ball. This is unbelievable. This cannot happen in a title contender Premier League team.
Oh, Diogo, don't hold back, man. Tell us how you really feel. The truth is, Diogo's completely right. It's atrocious. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's annoying. As a fan, you sit down, you take time out of your day, especially when it's a Thursday. That's a work day for some of us. Some of us need to either take a long break or wait until after work to come home, and we ignore social media. We don't look at anything to come home and watch this game after work. Now, for some of you who are in England and this is happening after work hours, good for you. But for some of us in other countries that maybe are at work and have to wait to get home, and at the same time you have to ignore Twitter, you have to ignore everything, turn off all your apps so you don't get any notifications because you want to watch the game as if it's live. And then you sit down at home after work and you're relaxing and you watch this game and you just get unfulfilled, is one way to put it. But the actual way to put it is steaming mad, angry. You guys have seen me after games. Just watch my video from 2 videos ago and you'll see how I looked after a game that we lost. I was crushed. My attitude was not the best, but it is what it is. It affects me from the inside out. And when you watch players, as Diogo put it, not give a fuck, it's heartbreaking. It's not the way it should be. Not for a beautiful club with such a massive history like Manchester United, where our fans are all around the globe and we watch every minute of every game with such hope and desire for excellence. And then you see that and it just crushes you, and it does affect your day-to-day life. Now, with that said, maybe it's unfair to say that some of these players don't give a fuck. Maybe this is just their level, and that is where Ruben Amorim, and everybody involved has to analyze, dissect, and decide whether or not these players are good enough and whether or not they should stay with us. A little bit about the passing is something we've noticed in plenty of games, and then Diogo kind of helped me put it into words. I would say we moved the ball too slowly. And Diogo would say it's even worse than that. He told me that what's worse than that is we actually even walk with the ball towards the person we're going to pass it to before we pass. Which then actually clicked in my head and went, yes, exactly, because then the whole defense shifts. And by the time you pass, the man receiving the ball has no time. And Diogo said precisely, I tell my teammates all the time, don't run towards me when you're going to pass to me. Pass it to me earlier or run the other effing way. We were both very passionate in this discussion, and that's another reason why I can't use a lot of the videos and the conversations. There were a lot of F-bombs dropping left and right. Which I actually appreciated so much from someone from Lisbon who's a Sporting fan, is so caring of what's happening in a Manchester United game, which was actually more of a testament to me of how awesome of a manager Ruben Amorim is. That he can create. He's making Manchester United fans out of Sporting fans just because they still feel that attachment to him. It's not just Diogo. I've seen it online with other Sporting fans who are on Twitter discussing Manchester United games or are making YouTube videos discussing Manchester United games, and you can tell it's not because of the clickbait. It's because they actually have an affection or they have a connection to our manager. And they followed him and came with him to Manchester United. And that is so cool to see. We're going to talk a little bit more about what Ruben Amorim did in Sporting and how Diogo is telling me he can see the same things starting to take shape and happening here. But let's get back to the game. So our passing, abysmal. And some of the worst passing is even being done by some of our best passers. And I'm talking about Licha. Licha, I hold up on a pedestal when it comes to center backs who can pass. Licha to me was one of the best passing center backs I've seen about a year or two ago. Now, or after his injury, I just see him making decisions slowly, not releasing the ball quick enough, jogging towards, let's say, Diogo Dalot, before he passes the ball to Diogo Dalot, who then has no space and has to pass it right back. And that is some of the problems. So when you're seeing these kind of passes that go from the center back to a midfielder and then pass it right back, think to yourself, did that center back make the pass early enough, Or did the center back not jog towards the guy for a couple of touches before he passed it to the guy, which everybody in the world knew where that pass was going, and hence the defense adjusted? You have to, the ball moves faster than the player, so you have to help that ball run faster than a player from the opposing team can run. Get that ball to move around before the opposing team can adjust the defense. That is football 101. It doesn't take a genius, and it's something I'm sure Amorim is telling his players to do, guys. I'm sure of it. And that's why, you know what gets me? When I'm watching this game and I see my manager looking like this, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see him on the sidelines just frustrated. It breaks my heart to see my manager in that state. This is a man who's pouring his heart and soul in this, in our team, and these players are just not getting it. Now, why I bring up Licho Martinez and his passing ability, because in my conversations with Diogo, I confirm basically what I always thought, is that our center backs have to be more involved in progressing the ball forward. Sporting center backs are very, very much involved in progressing the ball forward. And De Ligt is guilty of that too, by the way. And what I mean by that is the center backs have to make a decision quicker on how they're going to progress the ball forward once they're passing it amongst themselves, and once the ball switches from one side to the other, amongst the center backs, that is, or even coming back to the center, wherever the gap is, it has to be exploited early. The center back has to make a decision to progress the ball forward, whether that's through dribbling or through a penetrating pass. And also they have to be able to hit wing backs across the field with their passing ability. That's what Sporting center backs do. That's what Ignacio is so good at. Even Diamande. They are all good at it. Even the Dutch center back, I forgot his name, that's at Sporting, the third center back. And the point is that not all the plays have to go through our midfielders. So Bruno Fernandes shouldn't have... Sorry, I will say that again. Bruno Fernandes should not have to work so hard to progress the ball forward, because the center backs have to take some of the responsibility of getting that ball to move forward. And we are not seeing that. Again, we are seeing slow play, slow decision making, and they are the first layer of our offense. Well, the goalkeeper actually is. But once the goalkeeper releases the ball to one of the center backs, then it's on the center backs to keep that ball progressing forward, and we are not seeing decisions being made quick enough. Now, is that because the front of them are players who are not filling in gaps and running in holes quick enough, or is that because our center backs are just thinking too slow? I believe it's a combination of both, because sometimes the pass is there and it is on and it doesn't happen and the gap closes. And if you watch the game, I urge you, especially against Man City, those gaps close fast. The Man City gaps close fast. Those players are well drilled and well placed in positions. I mean, the whole Pep Guardiola thing is called positional play, right? So they are very, very drilled and know what positions they're supposed to be in. They know when a gap is open, and they know they need to close that gap quickly. In that game, if we do not move the ball into those gaps in a timely manner, which we still haven't done, even against a team like Viktoria PLZN, we're not going to have possession for much of that game. Now, unless we have possession just amongst our center backs, probably in our own half of the field or right at midfield. And that's not going to be good for us, because if we try to hunker back, sit back, and counter, well, we don't have the same counter that we used to have in the old days, because our wingers are not wingers, they're wing backs. I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm actually very interested in watching that game tomorrow, your time. I'm recording this on Friday, so I got 2 more days before I watch that game. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I'm also very weary and stressed out, because I don't know if we have any kind of chance of giving City an actual game. I hope we do. But as you guys know, we don't have much time to train, and these players need more training. They need more understanding. They need to be put through their paces to understand where their positions are supposed to be in any given situation, but they also need to be moving the ball faster. These are very, very complicated things that need time to learn, and it makes our players look worse than they actually are. And this is coming from a person who actually thinks we need to get 4 or 5 players out and get another 4 or 5 players in. And I'm not even talking about the obvious ones. Like Eriksson, I don't even count him in the 4 or 5 I'm mentioning. I'm talking about 4 or 5 players who regularly play for Ruben Amorim. I want to get out. But I'm still saying that the rest of the squad is actually better than they are. And Diogo told me that that's what he believes too. And actually, I never even asked if that's what he believes. He just volunteered that information and said that your players are not as bad as they seem right now. This is exactly what happened at Sporting. It will take time, and these players will show themselves again as soon as they are confident with their assignments, know where they're supposed to go, and once Amorim has put them through their paces some more. But with all that said, he also said this.
My worries are not that. They will improve. The league will improve. Lisha will improve. Dalo will improve. There's a lot of guys working well. I think we have a team to win games. But you don't have nowhere to put Garnacho and Rashford. You don't have wingers. Their system does not use wingers. They are wingers. They don't do shit other than winger.
I'm in complete agreement here. I'm in complete agreement, and it does break my heart because Marcus Rashford is one of my favorite players. And Marcus Rashford, the image of Marcus Rashford after the game, I don't know if you guys saw that. There was a picture of him on the bus, or a video of him taken by someone's phone on the bus after the game with his head up against the chair in front of him in the bus, and he did not look like a happy person. And I don't think his head was up against the chair because he was sad. Because he was sleepy. I think it was up against the thing because he was devastated. He knows he played a bad game. He knows he played a horrible game. And he knows that, I think he knows he just doesn't fit this system. And I think we're all going to have to come to that realization. And that goes for Garnacho too, just like Diogo said. I don't know how Garnacho and Rashford fit in this system. They both want to occupy wide spaces. And when they're not occupied, even Garnacho's best moments with Ruben so far have been when he's cutting in from a wide space. They haven't been with him having some sort of combinational play up the middle. So me and Diogo discussing those inside 10s, we discussed that for a long time. So I'm going to summarize it for you. Those inside 10s and the center forward need to work together to form a triangle, and they need to pass. And we're talking about 1 or 2 touches at the most. Pass, really fast combinations to set each other up to score a goal. Neither one of them can be selfish about who's supposed to score the goal. It's all about how that pattern or combination plays out, which ends up creating a chance for one of 3 of them. And they all 3 need to be creating chances for each other pretty much all game long. Every run they make should be either to open up space for another one of them to receive a ball, to then play in the other third one, or play back to the original runner, while the third one's making a decoy run, pulling defense away. I just said a lot of things in about 15, 20 seconds that takes a lot more than it's in very simple terms is what I'm trying to say. It's going to take a lot more practice on the training ground and the pitch to understand each other. Now, can Garnacho and Rashford do this? Maybe, yes. I don't know. And neither does Diogo, because Diogo told me that in the beginning, Sporting fans didn't believe that Trincao was going to deliver at the level that he's delivering at. They didn't think that Pedro Gonçalves was going to deliver or play at the level that he's playing that. In Pedro's case, he would say that he would waste a lot of balls. He would do a lot of passes that were maybe not that good. And Diogo was telling me that Trincao would just do a lot of he would want to be a little bit more out wide. And he had to be more disciplined in the Amorim system to come back in and play more in the middle and learn how to combine to create his chances as opposed to trying to take somebody on the dribble. And that is another thing that we're talking about. Now, is dribbling bad? No, it's not bad. Go ahead and dribble, but don't try to take your player one-on-one on every dribble and every chance you get. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of combination play. And we both know that Rashford and Garnacho don't really use their teammates properly. And this was going on for years, by the way. This was even a curse in the Ten Hag days. This isn't something new. Garnacho and Rashford kind of try to square up their man and try to take them on, which is good sometimes, but not every single time. It's better to also use your teammates and bounce passes off them and have patterns of play that are designed to create chances. That's all we want to see. That's beautiful football, and we're not seeing it. And we don't know if these players are going to be able to adjust and be able to deal with being more inside with less space, hence needing to bounce passes off each other, needing to perfect patterns and movements so that they can create space, time, and chances for each other. What do you guys think, guys? What do you guys think of this conversation so far? Leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for the comments in the past. Again, I read every single comment. I try to comment in every single comment, especially the first 48 hours of a video. So if you're leaving a comment 3 or 4 days later, I might not get to it because I'm already trying to move on and make the next video. Thank you so much again. Drop a like if you're still here, and let's keep going. So what's the bottom line? What does this all mean? I think what this all means and what I'm seeing is that Ruben Amorim is still trying to figure out what his best team is, what his best positions are, what his best players can serve him best. That's why I think he's trying Ahmad in the inside 10 role, which I actually appreciate a lot because I think that's probably where he's going to end up in the very future. I don't think that Ahmad, you want Ahmad to play as a right wing back and have to cover a lot. Basically, you want Ahmad more involved in creating chances is what I'm trying to get at. Where, by the way, the wing backs are very, very involved in creating chances. But you want Ahmad kind of fresh 60 minutes in because he hasn't run up and down the field. I think I might be wrong there, and he might end up being our right wing back in the future because he is pretty good at almost everywhere he is. But look, even Ahmad is not immune to making errors. He made plenty of his own errors in that game, in the Europa League. He made plenty of errors. He passed the ball a little bit too late. He passed the ball sometimes to the wrong direction or the wrong guy. He's still making errors, and he's still a young man, and he's still learning. Or sometimes he would take a shot when he shouldn't be taking a shot. So, but what I did like is I like seeing Anthony as a wing back with Ahmad on the inside. I think they actually had a decent chemistry, even though we saw it for only, 15 minutes, if that, maybe a little more. I can't remember, but it was a short period of time we saw Anthony playing as a wing back with Ahmad inside him, and I thought the chemistry there actually worked, and that is so vital, guys. Having relationships and pairings that understand each other and understand what, they like, their movements complement each other is important, and I saw a little bit of that. Now, again, I also saw moments where I was like looking at Ahmad going, Ahmad, you're supposed to run diagonally over here, and you're not doing it, buddy. But one of the goals the first goal that was created was exactly that. Ahmad made the run he was supposed to make. Anthony fed him the ball. Ahmad cuts inside, takes a shot, ricochets, and then Rasmus puts it in. It's tough pronouncing their names the right way, guys, especially when you're not used to saying it in certain ways. That's why you're seeing me pause before I say anyone's name, including Ruben Amorim. But that's how you're supposed to say their names. So what we're going to do for the rest of this video is we're going to talk about the rumors that are in the news. January is just around the corner. There are a lot of transfer rumors going on. We're going to talk about the ins and outs, who is possibly going to be moved on, maybe this January or in the summer. And we're going to talk about the kind of players that we are scouting and looking at because there are some exciting things going on at our club right now with Dan Ashworth out, Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox in charge, with Christopher Vavell also in charge of scouting. It's actually pretty exciting as far as I'm concerned. And I think the fact that they let Dan Ashworth go is going to be even more of a fire in their belly to prove to everybody, including themselves, that that was the right decision and that they can make something good out of what the situation they're in now. So let's get right into it. Everybody knows about the young man, Diogo Leon from Paraguay, the left wing back or the left back, who is going to sign on. He's 17 years old, so he's not going to join our team until the summertime, I believe in July. And we already got the "here we go" from our man Fabrizio Romano. Beautiful Fabrizio and his "here we goes." We always love those. It's exciting. We signed him. The kid looks like a physical specimen. I mean, when you say we lack physicality, when Ruben Amorim joined the squad, the team, and he said we need more physicality, and your first signing is a 17-year-old who looks like this, yeah, that means that the scouts and the team is trying to give him exactly what he wanted and what he asked for. And the beauty of it, and I love this, is that this kid is from South America and costs less than £4 million. I mean, this is the exact kind of signing we need to be making when it comes to a young prospect. We should not be signing young prospects for 30, 40 million pounds unless they're like Vinicius Jr. or Rodrigo from Brazil and everybody knows that they're good and they're goal-scoring young, not left wing back. This is great. This is fantastic because if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt the team. £4 million is nothing. We have lost a hell of a lot more on players who had a lot less potential than this guy. So this is fantastic. It's music to my ears. I'm so excited about it because it's a step in the right direction by a lot, by a million. And then the other thing I read in the news is that Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox have hired more scouts in South America. This is great, and I'm glad it's happening already, that it's already happened, because probably nothing going to come out of it in the January transfer window, but by the time we get to summer, hopefully we're scouting more South Americans and we're getting more players through the door before anybody else does, from Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Paraguay, Colombia, wherever, that are good enough to come in, have a lot of potential at decent prices. So we're not spending 80 million, 90 million on guys and hoping. We're spending 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 on potentials, and we get to try out more of them. So we don't have all our eggs in one basket, if you will. This is great. I've always been a big fan of teams who sign young South American players. Julian Alvarez, when he went to Man City, I was super jealous. When Vinicius and Rodrigo, who I just talked about, went to Real Madrid, I was like, why aren't we doing these kind of things? So it's great to see that we are taking a bigger step into the South American market, and we're being serious about it this time, because we've heard rumors about it before and then nothing comes of it. And I think the last time we signed anyone directly from South America are probably the Rafael and Fabio twins. And if I'm wrong, go ahead and correct me in the comments, but at least maybe they're the last ones that actually worked out and got playing time. Maybe we did sign people from South America that just didn't play a lot. That's why I forgot them. But anyways, great to hear. I'm super excited about it, and let's move on to other news. So in other news, we're still looking for a starting left wing back. Diogo Leon is exciting, but he's 17, turning 18. He's not the one who's going to come in and take that position and grab it and just make it his own. We are still going to need an experienced left wing back, and that's why Alphonso Davies is still in the news, and it looks like Arsenal are interested, Liverpool are interested, Real Madrid is cooling their interest because they don't want to get into a bidding war. It's just not their style. They want you to want to go there, and you're supposed to sacrifice money and time and go there the way they want you to go there, or else they're not going to take you. So I don't think Alphonso Davies ends up at Real Madrid, at least not anymore, now that I think other teams are coming in to bid. So we have a chance. We have a chance if we're willing to pay what it's going to take to get into a bidding war. But maybe we don't want to get into a bidding war either, because Omar Barada, his background at Man City, they don't usually get into bidding wars. So maybe Omar Barada is going to take a step away from Alphonso Davies and go, listen, man, never mind. We're going to look somewhere else. And that somewhere else might be Girona's Miguel Gutierrez, who we're starting to hear little rumors about. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like the sources of these rumors, but when you take into account the actual situation, that his buyout clause is only 35 million euros, 28 million pounds, and that they're willing to take a little bit less. So we might be able to buy him out for 30 million euros, and he'll be joining in January. It starts to feel more realistic. You start to think, oh, that deal might be a little bit more realistic and something we could do right away in January and fill in that gap. So then you got Miguel Gutierrez, you got Diogo Dalot, and you got Diego Leon joining in the summer. That's plenty of coverage for that left wing back position, and Diogo Dalot can probably play on the right too. So that's plenty of coverage. And again, I have belief that Dalot is going to get back to his best form. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. He needs a season under Ruben Amorim to get back into shape. But I do believe in this kid. The kid's not that bad. He's not as bad as he's showing now, but he's showing freaking bad now. I mean, he is shit right now. Let's just be real. But I know that he's not this bad, and this won't be continuing. He's not going to be this bad next year. This is why Real Madrid want him. He's not bad. Now, if we decide that we want to take the money and sell him to Real Madrid because we don't owe anything on him anymore and he's pure profit to sell, I'm also going to back that. Again, I told you guys this in a couple of videos ago. Whoever they decide to sell, as long as they have the blessing of our manager and our manager says, yes, go ahead and sell him, even if he's my favorite player, if it's Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Kobe Mainu, I don't care who it is. If the manager is greenlighting the sale, I'm going to support it. And I think we all need to do that. We need to stop being the kind of fan base that we have been. And it's not going to stop. Just because I said it on a video on YouTube isn't going to change anything. We're still going to have toxicity. We're still going to have mistrust. And I totally understand why we have mistrust, because we used to be run by, we're still owned by, but we used to be run by Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and they both fucked us. I don't know how else to say that. They both screwed us. They made us feel like shit. They made a lot of bad decisions. They haven't taken care of the club in a manner you would wish your owners would take care of a club, and I get that. But it seems to me like these guys are trying to do the right thing, which is why I didn't understand why everybody was losing their head when we let go of Dan Ashworth. If they realized Dan Ashworth was a mistake and they sacked him right away, what's the problem? That's great. Let's do that all the time, no matter what. If we realize a player is not good enough and we bought him, let's sell him the very next summer. Get rid of him. Get him out the door. Stop keeping him around. And it should be from all the way from the top all the way to the bottom. I don't care if it's the guy who cleans the cleats after the games. If he's not doing a good job cleaning boots, get rid of him too. We gotta have standards. We have to have standards, and we should be having standards in the fan base. The fan base can't be sitting here going, Garnacho should play and Rashford should be on the bench, or vice versa. No. The manager decides. This manager knows what he's doing. He knows what he needs to see, and he's got his coaches that he brought with him that obviously know what they're doing, because they took a Sporting team that was actually very, very poor, and they turned them into champions. They turned them into winners, and they turned them into like undefeated winners in the end. And then a new manager comes in, and they just lost 4 in a row. So it's obvious these guys know what they're doing, and they know how to build up confidence, and they know how to get the best out of the players and getting the players to show their quality. We just have to give them time. Now, if they decide they are okay with letting go of a player like Garnacho or Rashford, or like I said, Kobe Mainoo or Diogo Dalot, we're going to back it. We're going to be like, okay, let's see why. Let's see what we're going to do with that money. We're getting rid of him because we have a plan. These guys don't just get rid of somebody without a backup plan. That's what they do. Ineos has been really, really good with they got rid of Erik ten Hag. 2 days later, Ruben Amorim walks through the doors, or they have a deal with him at least. They signed Omar Barada as CEO really, really quick, and Omar Barada came in, saw what Dan Ashworth was doing, didn't agree with it. Him and Sir Jim Ratcliffe decided to let Dan Ashworth go, and now Jason Wilcox is taking care of things, and Christopher Vavell is taking care of the scouting. It's fine. We're going to be fine. I really believe that. And if you go back and watch my old videos, this is not how I talk. I usually talk in a very negative way about how our club's being run. I actually like what I'm seeing. I feel hopeful. I don't like what I'm seeing on the pitch. On the pitch is a different story. But the way the club's being run right now, the kind of decisions they're making, I'm all for it. Let's get back to what's in the news before I go on another what do you call it? Before I go on another rant, sorry. Oh, speaking of Omar and Wilcox, it seems they both took a private trip to Adidas headquarters in Germany to get a walkthrough of their own data analytics team and what they're doing with their data technology and basically getting like a general understanding of the technology and what it does. And you heard Sir Jim Ratcliffe last week or 2 weeks ago in an interview say that our data analytics team or our data analytics department is prehistoric. Like it is really behind the times. So this beautiful thing that's going on with Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox going to Adidas and studying what they do for their data analytics is great. And with technology, it actually can be implemented quickly as long as you have an investment ready to make, because it's just technology like it is. And you hire one guy who understands that stuff, and that's it. Like you can start to implement that rather quickly. I'm sure by next month, by end of January or February, maybe after the transfer window closes, they can focus on getting that technology into place in our buildings, and getting 1 or 2 guys who understand how to make sense out of that technology. And we have a brand new data analytics team and breakdown. And that'll take us into summer better equipped to make better judgment on who to sign and who to move on. This is great news. Again, another thing that proves to me that we're moving in the right direction. Another thing that keeps me hopeful. And it wasn't even like a big news that broke out, but to me, this is huge. I hope it's true because I don't know the source at all. But it seems like a very, very logical thing, and also doesn't seem like something that gets a bunch of clickbait. So it doesn't seem like something that would be made up for the sake of being made up. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today. I don't know how long this video is because I was cutting back and forth trying to figure out how much of Diogo's conversation on Zoom I want to use and how much I want to just keep ranting about whatever's on my mind. I want to thank Diogo for being such an awesome person and giving me his time and talking to me for 2.5 hours, even though he was under the weather and not feeling so great. And again, I can't wait to have other conversations with him in the future as we evolve as a team and as we start to look like a Ruben Amorim team as he has more time to train our players. Guys, thank you so much. If you're still here, subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for getting me to 1,000. Hit the like button, comment down below. I will see you soon. I'll try to make a video on Sunday after the game to be posted for you guys to watch on Monday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye.